Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of the Road to Old School MTG. So here I have a match video of the top four for the latest tournament from Dave's Time Warp in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Jordan, what was the name of the tournament again?
It was
Sylex
the
Slam.
Sylex Slam.
There we go. I should have done my research. So yeah, Sylex Slam. So this was the quote-unquote official New Jersey tournaments for some reason, but it actually got a lot of pretty good attendance, right? So actually, yeah, it could definitely make its claim that it was the official one, right? So, but either way, that's how it was billed as. So Atlantic tournament, regular rules, nothing was restricted. And then I have Jordan and also Ty here. They both duked it out for top four. So I'll start with Jordan. Jordan, I have your deck pick. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay, so if you could just talk to us, like what deck you brought, and also a little bit of like how were you doing up to the point where you were playing Ty?
So this deck is like a red-blue counterburn type of deck with a few additions. You have some Sedge Trolls in there, and you got some Darrowlores that are usually not in this type of deck. But otherwise, you have Lightning Bolts, Chain Lightnings, a few counter spells, Mana Drain, Side Blasts, and then for creatures, Dibs, and a Singleton Modi. Apart from that, I think the deck is pretty standard. Um,
How are you
as,
doing up
as
to this point in the tournament?
up to this point, I was 3-1. I think I lost to Casey, who was playing some sort of a weird Chains of Mephistopheles deck.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that won 4-0, right?
Yeah, he's still went 4-0.
Yeah, in the
You
first round.
you had lost to Jesus at this point though, right?
Yeah,
Or-
so yeah, the video no.
Or you beat him. You beat him. Jesus.
Yeah, that's why he's playing you, because I should have been playing you, Ty. But Jordan got to you first, yeah. So okay. So I remember Jordan, previous versions you had the 2 or 3 Iron Claw orcs, right? So how do you like this change to the Sedge Trolls?
I guess I'm still trying to figure it out. But it just really sucked drawing the Iron Claw Orcs later in the game.
Yeah.
Plus they couldn't block, and that just wasn't good for me. So
Yeah. So yeah, I think in general, I think this is a better, like you can be as aggressive initially, but if it goes to the longer game, which a lot of games do, you definitely want to Sedge Troll over Iron Claw Orcs. All right.
yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. So Ty, I have here your deck pick. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So same things. If you can just talk about it, and then how did you do up to this point?
Okay, so this is a pretty standard workshop deck. This is playing the white cards, the white splash instead of the red splash. My most experience has been playing the red. I've played red with ATOG and without ATOG a couple of times. But I had never played it with white, and I've seen people do that. And I wanted to try out the white cards. I was never super impressed with them, but I was like, I'll give it a try. So you have the standard blue and black cards, Copy Artifact, Demonic Tutor, Abyss, Blue Power, and then a bunch of artifacts like with Mishra's Workshop. And then the sideboards where the white cards really kind of show through with the Disenchant, Divine Offering, Source of Plowshares, and Armageddon. Armageddon, I think, was probably the biggest draw to white because you have so much power and copy artifacts. You just play a bunch of Moxes, copy them, and then play Armageddon. You're pretty far ahead. And plus, after you Armageddon, you can play a workshop and start casting your threats again. And you also have the Icy Manipulator, Relic Barrier, Mana Denial plan against other Moxes. So I like that part of the deck. The Swords of Plowshares, the Divine Offering, Disenchant. I don't particularly like that part of the deck, but it's kind of very reliant on having white mana, and it only has, I think, 6 white sources main, 7 white sources main, and then 8 after sideboarding. Sometimes that's a little tough to do. At this point in the tournament, I was also I went 3-1 in the Swiss, where I was 3-0. I think there was 3 of us that were 3-0 in the last round, and I got paired down. Ended up losing to the mono black player, and then in the top 8, I beat Cause or Parker. He was playing the 12-bolt Lion version. And I beat him, so then I would face off against Jordan in the top 4.
All right, cool. And yeah, thank you for the talk regarding the white instead of red, because you're right. Definitely, I see this more commonly with red, right? And yeah, so yeah, pretty interesting, reasons why you would switch to the white, and well, got you all the way here. So definitely it proved that it has merit. So all right, so we'll be starting the video. I'm going to jump to, I already have everything mapped out in terms of where things are. If you guys need to make any kind of important statement and you don't want the video to keep on running, please feel free to ask me to pause. You can say what the point that you want to make, and then tell me when it's cool to restart, right? But if anything, we are starting the video right now. So nobody mulligan for this one. So here we go.
And I think, Jordan, you were playing first because you're the higher seat, correct?
I think we rolled. No.
I think you and Jesus rolled, and then I corrected you guys on that. Yeah.
Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Jordan's going first. Oh, Ty,
Mhm.
there it is. You have massive glare. So I wrote everything you have, so that's a low.
Yeah, that's library. I had turn one library, which I think is going to be the story of this first game. It's just this library. I'm probably going to draw a lot of extra cards off of this. I don't remember Jordan having a particularly strong start. I wonder if it's my sleeves, or do you have glare on other?
No, everything on the left side was blurred out in my other videos. So you can't see it. That's a workshop. Relic barrier.
Jeez.
I know. I'm going to have to remind you of everything that you have in play. You got a low workshop and relic barrier.
Okay.
So just pause here for a second, Jesus.
Yep, so you mana drain his relic barrier.
So you see how I leaned in a little bit?
Yeah.
That's a card that I don't usually see a lot. So for some reason, I guess I thought it could do more than just tap an artifact. So I feel like I kind of wasted that mana drain there. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because it's not a card you see a lot, and then countering it could be important if you need to protect your white source for your Mox Pearl, but you have the City of Brass, so yeah, it would kind of surprise me that you did counter that.
Yeah, and also this is the sixth round of Magic that I was playing back to back, and I was sneaking some Pokemon games between rounds, so I was kind of like,
okay,
I was kind of TCG'd out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, blame it on Pikachu. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, back to the game. So you had 2 mana still open, and then he casts a Chaos Orb instead.
Right. I think you'd rather have the manager for the Chaos Orb than a Relic
Yeah.
Barrier. So
in hindsight, yeah, he thinks that would have been the better play.
So at this point, I'm thinking that I'm pretty happy that just the slow start from Jordan, that he didn't have a Serendib, that it's just a Daralore, that's something that I could trade with a Suchi or a Juggernaut, or just this Chaos Orb. So I just, as long as he doesn't have an early creature, this is probably where he wanted the Iron Claw works. Is against the Library of Alexandria draw. Where if you don't have an early creature against the library, it's really easy for me to just sit back and draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, exactly. So you just dropped the Tundra, so you got Tundra, Workshop, Chaos Orb that you haven't used yet, and Alola.
Pause for a second here.
Yep.
So you notice how all 4 of my lands are tapped?
Yep.
I completely forgot that I had 2 mana from mana drain.
Mana drain. Yeah, and I think that's what we said there, is the mana burn, which would put you down to 16 there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then you had to tap out a City of Brass, so that costs you 3 life that you shouldn't have lost. 2 from the burn and 1 from the City of Brass, which you wouldn't have needed to tap, because you would have the 4 mana with the other, with the dual land and the Mox.
Yeah.
Well, live and learn.
And you could have had 2 mana with Counterspell, or I don't know if you had Counterspell at this point.
Yeah, well, but yeah, he could have bluffed if he didn't. Yeah, I mean, that's half of what blue does, bluff, that they have stuff they don't really have. All right, so I'm gonna keep playing the video. Another Relic Barrier, and this one stays in play because he's tapped out. And then he uses the Chaos Orb. Nice. That's been your only creature so far, right, Jordan?
So far, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So now I start tapping this Mox Pearl every turn. And I think I tap it basically for the rest of the game, and I don't know if it ever really matters, because I kind of assumed that maybe he had Sarah Angels in his deck. I didn't really know what he was playing. So I just kept going for the white source, and he had the 1 City Brass. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he protected it with the manager, so you thought it was
Right.
crucial.
So it kind of surprised me. So yeah, I wasn't sure what to really expect, but
Yeah. All right, so you played a Sapphire. That's a Suchi. So you got your first threat up. Oops, you don't. And then you took four mana burn from the Suchi, and you took a mana burn from the workshop because you only used 2 for the. So you're at 15 now for Ty. Also,
Right.
Jordan's at 14.
Yeah,
actually.
I guess is my phone's out somewhere, but yeah, I can't see that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's to the side.
yeah.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
I was keeping track here.
Okay.
And then you just
Yeah.
dropping lands, Jordan, right? So yeah. Okay, Underground Sea for time. Mind Twist for 2. So land in a chain.
So at this point, I think like I can't possibly really lose. You know, he plays the Sedge Troll. I have a lot of ways to deal with this with Icy Manipulator, the Abyss, just playing like a Suchi or a Juggernaut or something, or I mean Suchi or Triskelion. So
Yep,
I think that's the Abyss there.
The
that
Abyss, yep.
takes
That's
it
the
out.
Abyss, yep. Just like as you were mentioning.
And so
yep.
I feel like I'm like pretty far ahead. I've got the library going, and like really, I don't, like I said, at 15 life, so I don't think I'm in any danger here.
The
So I'm
balance
just
is the
gonna-
only thing, yeah. But
yeah,
even then,
balance, and or a draw 7 that could get
yeah.
Jordan back into this.
Yeah. So you just dropped a trike. So you got
So now I
a
have-
factory and a trike. You just dropped a Tundra.
Yeah, so it's Abyss, Relic Barrier, and Trike.
Yep,
Right.
and then you keep untapping that white. Oh, there it is. Twister. You don't have any counter spells, right, in your deck time?
No, I have no counters. So
Okay.
at this point, I think this definitely takes the game from me being like 99% to win to probably just like 90%. I'm
Yeah.
at 15. If Jordan draws enough lightning bolts and Sonic blasts, he could just go straight to my face.
Yeah,
Because I don't have a lot of pressure. So I don't know what you drew off of this, Jordan, but I don't remember my draw being particularly good. So
yeah. So definitely, yeah. He has the potential to get back in the game, although it's still a bit unlikely, but at least a lot better than how he was before.
Oh, right. You did draw your library off of this, but
yep.
you were.
But
you
check
only
it
have
out,
7.
Jordan. Yeah.
Yep, 6 cards again.
Yep. And then if you want to use it, you can't cast anything, but I guess you feel the need under pressure to cast something.
Yeah. This is the trade that I was making all day against players where they would Psionic Blast the Triskelion, which is really happy. Like, yeah, I paid 6 mana for it, and they're only paying 3, but they're all taking 5 damage.
Yeah, 5 damage.
and then I drew the Mind Twist. I did not have the Mind Twist off of the Time Twister, but I think when I activated Library, I found it, and that just makes it feel. That feels real dirty. Like the Mind Twists on turn 1 or 2, I don't think are that scummy, but the ones after a draw 7 feel the worst.
True, yeah, I guess so, yeah. And so he's tapping, and then he's like, "Oof, okay, that's a good one."
Yeah, that's actually pretty solid here because I had a full hand in the library going. Unfortunately, I have, I think, 2 factories in play.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Yeah, you're right. Mostly lands.
And the Abyss that's still locking Jordan out of any of his recurring damage threats with any creature. So
you have 2 factories, so you're gonna activate both, I think. Yep. 3. I see.
All right, so I got 1 turn.
Yeah, I see the City of Brass.
Yep.
Put it to
Yeah, good play.
Take away all his white mana, so the balance isn't even an option. So.
Yep, but then he revealed the top card, and then it's just a land. Yeah. So just to pause here, so Ty was at 15, if I'm not mistaken, around that area, over 10. And you just conceded because he's gonna get you for like 4. Remember you lost 3 life through a mistake. So in hindsight, I don't think that would have made a difference because he was going to hit you for 4, and then I don't think you can get one card that's going to get you out of that. So if you want to feel a little better, Jordan, like I don't think it made a difference. But I mean, you didn't know, right? It could have, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
I think what did make a difference though was wasting the mana
yeah,
drain.
yeah. If
Yeah.
anything, the life was not the big deal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If you
managing
had,
on the Chaos Orb would have been a lot better because he would have had a Darylor around, and I probably would have had to be more aggressive with playing my creatures. And maybe I draw fewer cards from library and I have to trade. Or maybe, he plays the Darylor, I play the Trike, and then he can just Sonic Blast my Trike. And so that's still the same trade. He's taking 5, but he's also getting a blocker out of the way and doing 4 to me instead, which would have been a lot better.
yeah, honestly, yeah. Like if you cannot destroy the Loa, the next best thing is you gotta make him cast his cards and go below 7. If he has the time to still keep 7 cards in hand, then you're gonna get outpaced. But you have to force him to play those cards, right? And if without pressure, then it's just not. He had 7. You had 7 cards the whole game, right, Ty?
Mhm.
Yeah, literally the whole game.
Basically, yeah. Until he cast the Mind Twist, I had 7 cards.
Oh yeah, true. All right, so we'll go into game
Yeah, do we
2.
want to talk about sideboarding at all?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, good call. Yeah, so Ty, do you remember any things regarding that?
I'm trying to remember. I most certainly brought in the extra abyss from my sideboard, and probably the swords to plowshares. And I might have brought in the mana drain, and the brain geyser. I've been bringing those in a lot. I don't think I had disenchant, even though I know Jordan kind of likes to play Blood Moon because he got me before with the Blood Moon. I just kind of find that when I'm playing the workshop decks, I'm not really too afraid of Blood Moon. And bringing in white cards to do that, I'd rather just have more colorless cards. I definitely cut the Relic Barriers, and I probably cut the Winter Orb, the Howling Mines, because I've been playing that combo wasn't very good for me during the day, and maybe some Juggernaut. So I might have brought in Swords with Plowshares and the extra City in the Bottle, plus the Grand Geyser Mana Drain combo.
Okay, interesting. All right, Jordan, do you remember have an idea of what you brought in?
So I know I have a Shatterstorm in my sideboard. I probably brought in a disc, a Nevinyrral's disc.
Okay.
I know I brought in 2 energy fluxes, and I probably brought in the 4 blood moons.
Okay, yeah, and then Ty has a good call. Like if with the Blood Moons, he still can get colorless mana for his artifacts. So I can see how that's not that for other depending on the build that could be devastating, but for his it's it's
it's
annoying.
A thing where for the red versions of the workshop deck, I've seen them play Blood Moons in their sideboard. I don't know. Like Blood Moon can still be good against the deck. It relies a lot on the blue power and copy artifact, and doesn't really have good ways to play those spells through a Blood Moon. But I don't know if I want all 4. Maybe a couple just to try and get lucky. But I do remember you having all 4 kind of after this game. You showed me you brought them in. So yeah.
So this is game 2. I mentioned you both mulligan right there, so Jordan's gonna go start things off. Loa, but then he has 5 cards, so he cannot activate it from the beginning like Ty had done before. Factory, Jet, Suchi, turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1. Wait, workshop Jet. It's the turn 1 Suchi is basically the play you kind of really want after board. It puts a lot of pressure on a lot of the cards that people board in against you, especially against a lot of the black decks that were there that day. They have trouble beating just any random 4/4. But I was pretty happy with the start. And yeah.
Pause here for a second. Jesus.
Yep.
So as Ty was saying, fantastic start on his end. For me, I kind of had to make the choice here. I could either hold back and get a full hand to use the Loa, or tutor for something. I chose to tutor. I don't know if that was a correct decision, but ultimately I tutored for energy flux.
Okay.
And at the time, I wasn't 100% sure how energy flux worked because I never resolved it. But you're gonna see what happens here on ties upkeep.
All right.
Yeah,
My
it's an interesting energy flux game, and this is one of the things where a lot of decks play energy flux, and I think energy flux is a pretty good sideboard card against a lot of decks, especially like the deck with Jam Day Tome and all that. I don't think it's quite as good against the workshop decks as you think because they can easily afford to pay to keep around one creature, and if you're taking 4 a turn while they're paying 2, that's a trade that they're willing to make.
Yeah, and what one thing I didn't realize is the ability is added onto the onto each individual artifact. I thought it was kind of like you pay 2 for everything on the spot, but no, they're separate triggers. So you got to use your Suchi in a way that I didn't expect you to use.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
so
we'll see that coming up.
play. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, back to the game. But then this tutor not only costs you the card, right? I mean, you're gonna get the tutor card back, so your hand size didn't drop because of that, but you did drop because of the dropping the underground sea, right? So that's really what's preventing you from getting up to 7. All right, so you dropped the
And
workshop.
now I have the factory here, so he has the library. I know I need to pressure him as fast as possible to kind of shut down his options of using the library. I think I put another Suchi there or a Juggernaut. I forget which one.
Yeah, no. Okay, so let me see. Suchi, yeah.
Okay. So that lets me here with the energy flux is that I'm going to sacrifice one of the Suchis to the energy flux trigger and use that for mana to pay for the energy flux triggers on both my Mox and my other Suchi.
Yeah, because you had 2 Suchis. Yep.
And I was expecting his board to be cleared. Yeah.
Because he couldn't pay 6. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, interesting. I mean, it's still good, but it's not as good as you thought.
Right.
And one thing that's good for Jordan here is that a lot of times I've seen people play Energy Flux and they have their own boxes in play when they cast it. And I think that does get you later on. But right now it's great. Like it's not affecting you at all. I still have to make a decision next turn with my Mox because I only have the workshop in play in the factory. So I don't actually have 2 mana to play indefinitely. So I need to have either a land drop or I need to have a land drop here to keep going, or a way to deal with the energy flux.
Yeah, because more Mox is not going to solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, underground sea. It's activating itself.
And here's the trick with copy artifact in Mishra's Factory is that if you copy a factory, it just becomes the land. And so it's a great way for this deck to kind of ramp up its land count and without adding any artifacts to the board. So
yeah.
Now I have 4 mana in play and only 2 artifacts. So I could pay for both if I decide I want to next turn.
Yeah, if you didn't have that, you would have had to copy artifact the Mox, and that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, or the Suchi. And I could have copied the Suchi and just tried the same thing again.
Yeah, double, yeah. True, yeah.
But this gets me ahead, and now I have 2 factories in play.
Yeah. So other than the tutor and the flux, you haven't done. Yeah, like you've been getting bad, unlucky draws, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has no red mana here, which I don't know if he has Blood Moon or like Shatterstorm or Shatter or anything, but
yeah,
just without red mana, I'm also free to just attack here with the Mishra's Factory.
Yeah.
And my hand here is City in a Bottle, and I'm debating whether I should play it just to take out one of his lands after he missed the land drop.
Yeah,
but that's yeah. And after he decides to Side Blast here, I have to take 4 mana burn. No, I don't take mana burn because I have the factory to.
Yeah, you put into the factory.
But I do go ahead and play the City Bottle and take out the Loa, which I'm not sure this is the right play. I could have waited for him to play a Serendib. I could have waited for something else, but and I do have to pay 2 mana for it. So, and he does have the Sedge Troll here, which puts me kind of behind the 8 ball here. I'm now kind of reacting to the Sedge Troll, so I have to just let the City in the Bottle go away.
Yeah, but if he didn't drop that land, it would have been it would have been the play to make.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you let it go during your upkeep. Drop the mox.
And I'm actually kind of happy about that because if you peek at my hand, I'm holding at least one dib.
Yeah, you have one dib in your hand, and you have that Mox Ruby, and I think you draw City of Brass here soon too. So it's like, yeah, as soon as I let it go, you play 2 Arabian cards. But I did draw an Arabian card and a Source of Plowshares here, so letting it go is probably still fine for me overall.
Yeah. So before you had Bring Geyser for 3 time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he dropped the City of Brass as well. 3.
So he's got Serendib, and I think the last card in his hand is Counterspell. I have the 2 factories, and that's really kind of it with the workshop. So, and he's at 13, so it's kind of a close thing. I'm gonna strip his.
Oof.
Ooh, that's
If it
a
wasn't
really
for
good
that,
play.
yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot that I did that to you.
Okay.
That's dirty. Yeah. Now it's now I'm ahead, and
Yeah.
this race is not going to be great. I think what happens is you draw a side blast here, and you just have to use it. Or eventually you draw the side blast, and I'm forced to.
Yeah, here comes the thing. Yep.
Yeah.
So that 3, 4, that's 6 damage to him. Wow.
It's interesting here because I did ask if you're targeting me or the Triskelion, and I think it's possible you want to instead just use the side blast on my face and try and race. I don't think it's gonna win either way, but if you drew a draw 7 and into more burn spells, it could have maybe worked out.
Yeah, because I have you like for like very little damage so far. You're probably going like 18 or something. So yeah, for the face, probably wasn't gonna do much.
So now he's forced to leave his Serenade back because I have the 2 factories, but he's at 5, and so he's just gonna take 1 a turn from the Serenade till basically he dies.
Yeah, you just gotta wait it out. Yeah, you drop. So you have 3 factories right now. He passed. Wow. Oof. Counter spell on the icy.
Yeah, because if I didn't do that, it was
Yeah, you're gonna tap
death.
your but it's still because you're at 4. You can only block 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That game you had that counter spell in your hand, I think the whole game, and just never had a good chance to do it because my start was just so fast with the turn 1 Tsuchi. So
yeah. All right, so Ty got it 2-0 in the this top 4 match. So we're gonna do a recap of the not just this game, but just the tournament in general. And I want to start with you, Ty, because can you also talk about what happened after that? Because you were supposed to have a top 2 match, right?
yeah, I was supposed to play Nano in the finals. He was there with his daughter, and so at this point, I finished my match. He was still in game 2 of his quarterfinal match against David Third. So he was gonna have to win that and then play against, I think it was Chris G in the top 4 on that other side of the bracket. And so I think I went out to the parking lot with Parker, had a couple of beers in the parking lot while I'm waiting for this to start. But
also, he played another game after that, so he was still in the top 8 game.
Yeah, he was still in the top 8 game. So I was like, I'm gonna have a while to wait. And so then I went out to the parking lot. I drank 2 beers with Parker. I came back in, and I'm like, I watched the 3rd game of his top 4 match at that point.
Yeah,
and he finally won that. And then at that point, he was like, I really need to go. Like, he's there with his daughter. Like, they want to go have family dinner with the rest of the other kids and his wife.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah.
So we worked out a deal where we kind of split the prizes. I got the trophy, and I get to be the title of the New Jersey old school champion, and he got to get the card, the altered card. So I told him if he ever wants to like actually challenge me for the title, he can, but he has to answer that card. I don't think he ever will. I can just hold that over him for the rest of the time.
Okay, but yeah, that's a cool compromise. Okay, so so I especially want you to talk about, since you were mentioning that this is a white version of the deck. Now that it's all said and done, you won the whole thing. How do you feel about that change to white, and just in general, how are you feeling about the deck?
So I guess one thing I didn't really mention about the deck earlier is the Howling Mines. So this deck plays 2 Howling Mines and a Winter Orb, which is a little bit different. So those sometimes are just main deck Armageddons and like the Brain Geyser and the Mana Drain. The Howling Mine package, because you can use the Relic Berry to turn it off, it's kind of like a one-sided card draw, and it gives you a little bit more extra velocity. And you also don't have to draw blue mana to make that work. That part I kind of liked. The Winter Orb I didn't think was very good. I think that I would rather have that be Armageddon. And the Armageddon in the sideboard was very good. But the other white cards I was not really impressed with. They're just kind of 1-for-1 removal spells like Source of Plowshares and Disenchant. I much prefer to play like the red cards where you can play Earthquake or Falling Star and then like Blood Moon. Something with like more impact in the matchups where you want. Like one of the things that this deck is really kind of weak to is the decks that get to play for Disenchant, for Divine Offering, for Counterspell, for Source of Plowshares. Like that's just 16 cards they have that answer basically anything you do. And if you can play Blood Moon, you turn off almost all of that because it's very rare that they have basic planes in their deck. And they might have an island or two, but the Counterspell, it needs double blue. So if you have the Blood Moon in play, it kind of stops all the cards that are kind of good against you, except for Shatterstorm. And also you get Red Elemental Blast, which is the best answer for Energy Flux. So for those reasons, I still think I prefer the red version, but I do think Armageddon is such a strong card in this deck that I would consider maybe playing white, or maybe even playing a 4-color version. I've seen that before. But otherwise, the workshops in Atlantic, you get to play 4. There's only 1 strip mine. I think it's the best thing you can be doing.
Yeah. It's I always have to ask, isn't that card restricted? Because like, how is a Mox restricted, but that's not? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. A Black Lotus is a 1-time 3 mana, but that you can infinitely keep it in play. Yeah, but that's the rules. But yeah, okay. So yeah, thank you for your insight. So Jordan, so yeah, any final thoughts on just how the deck did, and how you did it overall, or any whatever you want to mention?
So I think earlier versions of this build, I played, I think 1 or 2 the Abyss in the side. I think, I would have done maybe I wouldn't have lost the match I lost if I had a copy of the Abyss. Not the one that we covered today, but the one versus Casey. Apart from that, I think the deck performed really well. I don't know if I would make any changes currently.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're just weak to something, and then there's nothing you can do. I mean, like, I don't see much artifact destruction even in the sideboard other than Shatterstorm. So unless you tutor for it, like, there's not much you can do against ties other than counter spells. But you only have 4 in total, right? So I think it's just a weak matchup no matter what you did.
Yeah, I like this version of his deck. I've seen counterburn lists that play the orcs, and the orcs are fine, but like you said, they you kind of have to be ahead for them to be good. And in general, in old school, I like to play cards that are both good on defense and on offense, and that's why I really like these Sedge Trolls and the Darrowlore. And I guess to a lesser extent the Mahamoti. I think the Mahamoti might be a little too cute, but it's it's a strong card if it's in play, and one of the best things about it is that it doesn't die to city in a bottle. So you just play it, and then like people look at you like, oh no, where did this come from?
Well, Jordan has one with this deck, right? So there's no denying that it's a solid deck, and right, so and he wiped the floor with me in the previous round, right? So but sometimes you just is who you get paired against, right? And then I think it was just an uphill battle no matter what you did. But doesn't mean you change the deck. That just means you pray you don't get matched up with another shops for the next tournament. But all right, so thank you guys for taking the time. This is really cool information that you guys gave to us, and I want to thank you again. And then, so we're going to leave it up to there for today. Thank you guys for watching.